Talking F1 with Steve, Neil and the Gov. Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to another Monday night Talking Formula One, the pit stop for the F1 fan. This is the show that gives you the power to control the Formula One discussion points. You can have your say one of two ways. In fact, you could do both if you should so wish, but you can get active in our live chat. Drop a point in there, a question, a comment, whatever it is. We'll get to every single one of them. Alternatively, come on the show. If you've got something that you desperately want to say, get off your chair, speak to Steve, speak to Neil, speak to me, whatever it may be. Just say link in the chat and I will give you a link to come on. You do not even have to have a webcam, my friends. You just need a microphone. And most smartphones have a working and normally quality microphone. Alternatively, you might be sat on the bus listening to us on a podcast platform. You might be sat on the bus, on a train, wherever it might. Well, they don't run anymore, but wherever it might be, watching us back. Don't think this is not also for you, because you can also get involved if you're listening or watching on catch up. If you're listening, then just drop your comments in the review section. And while you're doing that, of course, make that review 5 stars. Or if you're watching on catch up on YouTube, leave a comment. I ensure one of us, myself, the aficionado, or Mr. Positivity, one of us will get back to your point with a well-informed opinion. Well, hang on. If it's me replying, it perhaps won't be well-informed. Because, well, if you've ever been here before, you know I'm not well-informed. But if you're on the other two, you can guarantee it will be informed. EJ Norris, welcome in, my man. Big up Mark Tuxford, one of our new YouTube members. So it is the mid-season. I have designed today's show. So what goes on in the next 28 minutes is all down to me. So if you don't like it, let me know. But don't be too mean about it, please. But here we go. Let's get cracking into it. It is, of course, my first contributor of the night, the aficionado, Stephen Thompson.
No, I think Bottas he'll be the one to really hold Alpha.
Bottas will be the one to hold Alpha together. Let's start with that, Steve, before I ask you how you are. How has Bottas done so far in his new team?
He's done okay. I think he can be happy with what he's done. He's outperformed Zhou Guanyu, his rookie teammate, which you'd really expect coming from Mercedes after years alongside Hamilton. You'd want him to be outperforming the rookie, which he has done.
Yes, absolutely.
Some good results, some disappointments as well, mainly due to the Ferrari power unit not being 100%. I think overall he can be happy. As he gets to the midpoint of the season, he can't really have expected too much more. I don't think they're not in a position to challenge for podiums. No. I think all they can really hope for is picking up some solid points, at the races, and that's pretty much what he's been doing.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, if you look at the sort of breakdown as it goes, Alfa Romeo, obviously, they've, Valtteri's had 10 races, Zhou's had 2, qualified 10, 3, 46 points for Valtteri, 5 for Zhou. I suppose I mentioned Valtteri because he was on the intro, and we obviously had this in-joke about you being a huge Valtteri Bottas super fan. Not. I guess the question should have been, how is Zhou's rookie year going? Because from the stats, not going too well.
No, if you look at Zhou's season, he's actually not been too bad. I'm just going to load up some bits and pieces here.
Go for it. So the highest Zhou has finished this year is 9th. The highest Valtteri has finished is 5th. Best race finish was 5th for Valtteri and 8th for Zhou. And he's had 5 did not finishes as Zhou. So
yeah, so I'm now gonna check. So the results and standings. So Bottas is currently sitting P9 in the championship. There's only been 5-6 races where he hasn't finished. 3 have been mechanical DNFs. He's had 6 races where he hasn't scored points. 3 have been mechanical DNFs. Hungary, Silverstone, and Saudi Arabia. Zhou Guanyu down in 17th place. 10th on his debut, and then 8th back in Canada. So
he's had the most DNFs this year, Zhou.
Yeah, he's had 4 DNFs, maybe 5 actually, because
that's the most on the grid.
France was
of anybody.
Late. Yeah, it is a shame because, again, most of it has been down to Ferrari power units. I can't really think of a mistake or something that he's made that has ended
No.
his race. So it's all been Ferrari. Or well, obviously Silverstone, he was sort of an innocent, wrong place, wrong time in that crash. But I think even though he's way down there, he still scored more points than Stroll and Aston. The car has struggled, but Seb's been doing all right in it. So I think he's solid. I think he's been doing all right, to be fair.
Not bad as a rookie year go. So that's that out of the way. How are you this fine Monday evening, Stephen?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Good, man. I'm not too bad. What are you drinking this fine summer's eve?
It's in a Birra Moretti glass, but it's not that fancy. It's Perlenbacher. It's a Pilsner from Lidl. Really nice.
Oh, no, you had that before. You've mentioned that on the show before.
Yeah, I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I just really like
but you are
beer.
dipping back into the Pilsner well. Looking to be a bootlegger. EJ Norris, Merckx to finish second this year in the Constructors. Possibly so, because there are, well, from the outside looking in, Steve, there are issues at Ferrari. Well, I say the outside looking in because Binotto, you know him, he's the guy who's in charge at Ferrari at the moment. No reason why Ferrari should change approach in second half of 2022.
That's just daft. You built a car that's broken anyway, supremely fast, but very touch and go. And to top it off, your strategy department is all over the place. You had the call in Monaco, which cost Charles. Charles would have won that race, and it cost him again last time out in where were we? Hungary. So I don't see how we can say that, nothing needs to change over the summer break. I know there's obviously a shutdown period where nothing can change. But when they get back to it, there's a lot of changes that need to be made. You need to hire a strategy department for a start, because you obviously haven't got one. And you need to fix the bloody car. We
saw that last week with the fantastic picture that was put together via a Reddit contributor. I was flummoxed when I saw the headline. This is some of the quotes I've pulled out from the Formula1.com article. There's nothing to change. I think it's always a matter of confidence, learning, building experience, building skills, which he said after the Hungarian Grand Prix. That's the very start of that. There's nothing to change.
All about building experience and things. This is Ferrari. They're the oldest team. They're the most knowledgeable team in the sport. It's rubbish. You've got he's been there himself for many, many years. He was there in the Schumacher and Ross Brawn era. Binotto's been in various positions there over the years. So that's a load of rubbish. There's a lot to learn, even for the older teams. Be you a Haas or with a relatively limited time in the sport, or if you're a Ferrari who's been in it since the very beginning, or if you're a Williams or a McLaren, there's always something to learn. You learn every weekend.
Is that a race director, Steve, really not admitting, but coming to terms with the fact that he can't change anything at this point? So it would be foolish for him to say, we're going to make wide sweeping changes, because at this point, surely the car is what the car is, and we have to get it back to the garage pre-season, etc., before we can make any. Is this just him, not wanting to overpromise and underachieve in what is pressure that's mounting on him?
I think regarding the car, there's not as much you can do with that. It does take a bit of time. Mercedes is still working on their car, and obviously it's getting them back towards the front again. But the car is phenomenal. It is the quickest car on the circuit, but it is just so fragile. And that will take time to fix it. But your strategies, strategies are a quicker fix. And it doesn't take a lot. If people are watching at home, be they seasoned fans like Neil and herself, or if they've only been watching for a couple of years like you, even people who might be their first season, they can see that hards are not the right way to go, because Kevin Magnussen was on them. He was struggling. The Alpines were on them. They were struggling. And everyone's going, hards are bad here. And then they saw these tyres going on the Ferrari, and they thought, what the hell are they doing?
What the hell are they doing? Good point.
If Ferrari can't spot it, then, the mechanics must have spotted it. And they've got we just have to do what we're told, really.
Is the only change at Ferrari going to be Binotto departing in the summer?
I hope he does, to be honest. As much as I like him, he's not doing it right there.
It's his fourth year, and pressure is mounting. Apparently, the future is here. Dating AI match, 84%. Look at
There we
that.
go.
I mean,
Oh god, they were
I
on.
wish they had those sort of odds when I was, when I was on the dating scene. 84%.
Bloody hell, that's
Bloody
generous.
hell! But I
Generous.
mean, it's up there with the chance of Ferrari finding a strategy department, isn't it?
Yeah, bloody right. I don't think Bonotto will go in the summer. I think he'll see out the year. Yeah, I think he'll see out the year. Because it could still come good. They could win the champion. It's a long shot now, but they could win the championship.
So let me clarify. When I say the summer, I mean the F1 summer equivalent. The end of at the end of the season's done. That's when I see him moving on. Obviously, not our summer. I must just clarify that. Sorry, my mistake. But
yeah,
you don't see him moving
now. End of the season, possibly, but again, it could come down to if they've won the championship or not. If they haven't, then potentially. If they have, he'll stay because he'll say, right, well, look, we won it. Okay, we had some questionable calls over the years, but I was at the helm when we won. And it is a very, very long shot now with Verstappen being 80 points clear.
Yeah. Well, I've got that coming up. I've got a question of that, I think, coming up towards the in the show at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw the headline, I thought of you, Steve, because I know you are pulling your hair out at the Ferrari, but you shouldn't do, because obviously Binotto clearly isn't. Right. Mm. He is our man in a van. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, he is in his van. Mr. Positivity, Neil Moles.
Yeah, but we're crap. We're not going to dominate any team.
How you doing, Mr. Moles?
Hello there. Yeah, pretty good.
Look, let's just clear it up for the guys and girls at home. Do you live in your van?
No.
Okay. That's
feel like it sometimes. Okay.
Oh, well, 1 second, boys. Sorry about that.
Oh, there you go. You bring him in.
Good to see you. Good chat.
Good chat. Good chat. Good TED talk. Metal Jace, I can't think it's a culture problem at Ferrari. Always getting out of the van. Obviously, no one can see this other than me, because I can see in the VIP area. He's gotten out of the van, ladies and gentlemen. Look, if I show you quickly, there is the van.
It's gone full Ferrari. He's broken down. He's out.
There is the van. Obviously, he has the Ferrari power unit in it, Steve.
Of course. Yeah, the old Ferrari commercial vehicles, yeah.
Absolutely. I kind of think there's a culture problem at Ferrari, or too many yes men for the same problems year after year.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I said last week that, it was better under the Ross Brawn / Jean Todt days. He had these sort of ruthless people who they wanted to win by any means necessary, and they weren't happy with sort of like a yes sort of thing, Oh, we should fit hards. Well, okay, then we'll do it. It's probably not the best way to go. We'll do it. It would have been, we should fit hards. No, that's bullshit. We're not fitting hards because, look at the car struggling. Or they'd have the drivers, like Hamilton's done before. Oh, Lewis, come in. No, my tyres are fine. All right, then. They need some of that. I think they need that, because I think Charles and Carlos are still a bit too much like, nah. Well, less so Carlos, but Charles really is a bit like, well, all right, then. So it could go down to the drivers being yes men as well in a way, but yeah, at the actual team, I like the idea of having Ferrari, and it's obviously all an Italian team, but I think you need other staff members there from other backgrounds. If you've got like a British guy, a German, someone who can bring a different perspective from another team, rather than this culture of promoting from within like they did with Binotto and they have done beforehand. Get someone externally, because
fresh
it helps other teams.
Fresh ideas, yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. There you go. You see, just Stephen at home is proving you don't need a webcam. That's all that was. That's all.
I don't know what the hell happened there.
No, it doesn't really matter. Unbelievably, Mercedes are just 30 points away from Ferrari.
How on earth has that happened?
Because Ferrari can't finish a race.
Well, Ferrari are imploding. Yeah, I'm now more concerned about Mercedes catching Ferrari for second than I am.
Do you see it happening?
I
see it happening, because I think we'll come to Russell and Hamilton a bit later on, but I think Mercedes have really turned the corner recently, and Ferrari they're stuck in the mud.
Russell has done very, very well. That pole position in Hungary was just insane, out of nowhere, one of the laps of the year. Russell's been fantastic and consistent. I think it's still, the only race he's not been in the top 5 this year typically is his home Grand Prix. That is typical.
You mentioned Russell and Hamilton. Let's go there, because who has, obviously Russell is the upstart, Hamilton's the GOAT. Who has performed better? Because for me and my money, Stephen, Hamilton has outperformed George Russell over the last 5 race weekends. He is back.
Hamilton, I'm not going to say anything about the GOAT comment. Hamilton has 5 podiums in 5 races, 3 thirds, 2 seconds. George has had 2 podiums, 2 thirds, but a pole position. Hamilton, a couple of fastest laps. George had that incident in Silverstone, which he was largely at fault for. Over the course of the year, I would say George has been more consistent because he's been in the top 5 literally every race bar 1. Hamilton took a little bit more getting used to that car than George did.
Yeah.
But George adapted very well. Hamilton has had that ability to adapt to cars, even that aren't great, and drag performance out of them. They've got 2 of the best drivers on the grid against Ferrari, who have 2 incredible drivers. I still think Charles is the next level. He's up there with the likes of Lewis and Max.
I agree.
But he's just not got the car. Carlos has his good days, has his bad days. But it's unfortunate that even though the Mercedes is still way behind the Ferrari, that Ferrari is just so fragile.
Yeah.
And when the car does work, it's the personnel that mess it up.
Absolutely. Yeah. They don't seem to find that winning formula at the same time. It's always one or the other that are just not playing their role. 30
They
points.
either have a good strategy and the car implodes, or the car works beautifully and the
driver implodes. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Absolutely. And when I saw this today, when I was prepping for the show, that they were only 30 points away from Ferrari, I couldn't quite believe it, because it seems like Mercedes have been one of these ongoing conversations throughout the course of the year, almost like they're not even finishing races. Oh my God, what's happening to Hamilton? Oh my God, what's happening to the Silver Arrows? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. When actually they're putting themselves out of their pit and they're closing that gap, and they're going to finish second for my money.
I wouldn't bet against it. I mean, looking at the standings now, they've only had 2. Well, George has had a DNF. Lewis has finished every race this year, but he had 1 race out of the points. That was in Imola, where he was 13th. Every race since, every race he's been in the points. Every race bar 1, George has been in the top 5. Lewis has got more podiums than Leclerc. Who would have thought that at this point in the season, with how far off the pace Mercedes were at the start of the year and how on it Ferrari were? Who would have thought? Leclerc 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 podiums, which is shocking. Hamilton has got 6. Where does that come from? I mean, it's sublime. George has got 5. Verstappen is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is Verstappen's title. You know, he's a 2-time world champion. I think that's obvious now. But Sergio Perez is only 5 points behind Charles. Can he hold on? Yeah, Checo's been all right. He's 173 points. Charles 178.
Good Lord.
And again, he's been incredibly consistent. Apart from a couple of DNFs, he's been right up there as well. Second place he's been a perfect wingman to Max this year. He really has.
Unbelievable. I didn't have that. I didn't have that on my notes. You generally stumped me there. That's wow. There you go.
Look at that. Even Sainz has got more podiums than Leclerc this year.
Well, there you go. Well, yeah. Let's just go live to the van. As you can see, nobody's in the van still. Obviously, much more wrong than the power unit. We will come back live to the van at some point, ladies and gentlemen. We will keep you abreast of the situation. As you can see, it's looking rather clean, to be fair, Steve.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's no dust or fluff in there, is it?
Absolutely no. I mean,
no driver either.
No driver either. That is a well-loved, well-kept van. I like it. Talking of well-loved, Norris, just how special is Lando Norris? Is he a driver that is going to be in the conversation with your Hamiltons, with your Russells, but more importantly with the Verstappens and the Leclercs? Because it isn't just even, it's not even close at the moment between Norris and Ricciardo. It's not even worth me asking you who has performed the better, because in every single stat category, I believe, going, but certainly the most important one, which is the points, Norris is wiping the floor with Ricciardo.
Yeah, I'm looking. I didn't realize how bad it was. Daniel has had one of my favorite drivers of all time, Daniel Ricciardo. I'm a big Ricciardo fan. This year has been terrible. He's had 4 points finishes this year.
Yep.
Lando Norris has only had 3 races where he didn't finish in the points. Lando has been absolutely incredible. I think, give it a couple of years. I think one thing that is for certain is the future of Formula One is in very safe hands, because you're going to have obviously Fernando's not got too long left. Seb's going this year. Hamilton's not got too long left. you got Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, George Russell, Lando Norris, all these young guys, and then the likes of maybe Pierre Gasly, those sort of people as well. Alex Albon, if he can get back up to a higher team, because Williams aren't going to do it. No. F1 is in very safe hands, and I think Lando deserves to be spoken about in that same breath as some of the guys around him, because that car, either that car is terrible and Ricciardo's not getting it out of it, but Lando is, or Lando is just he's very, very consistent. That we know. And he has hit the ground running with that car.
What does he need to do to make the steps that makes him recognised as a special driver? Because when you talk about Formula One drivers, or you hear radio analysts or TV analysts or whoever talking about Formula One, Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, George Russell now to an extent, Leclerc, they dominate the conversation of these are the best drivers, whereas Norris for me deserves to be in that conversation, but he's not. So what does he need to do to put him in that conversation?
To be honest, I think he's doing everything he can, because that McLaren, obviously you've got your top 6 places really. If nothing goes wrong in a race, your top 6 are going to be the Ferraris, the Red Bulls, the Mercedes. If nothing goes wrong, obviously you've got Ferrari. But what Lando can do is the least. He can hope for a top. Well, he can hope for 7th place if those cars get to the end. But he wants to get some better results, like he has done. He's got a podium this year. That car is not really a podium car, but he's got one. Last year he got a surprise pole position as well. That's the sort of thing you need to do, like pick up the odd result where you think, bloody hell, where did that come from? Like Gasly was doing last year.
Absolutely.
Pop up with the odd podium here and there, the odd 4th place, 5th place. Fight the likes of Mercedes, because they are still fairly matched with McLaren, unless you're Ricciardo. That's what you really need, because people are going to take note, like they did with, like, say, Pierre Gasly. He's getting 5th places in an Alpha Tauri. Not this year, because the Alpha Tauri has been absolutely woeful, maybe the midfield is that close. But Lando needs to be picking up those sort of 5th and 6th regularly, which he is doing. He's been incredible this year. Whereas Ricciardo, it breaks my heart to see it. But there's obviously a lot going on behind the scenes with Ricciardo and McLaren and Alpine and Piastri,
and who knows where that story will go. We'll obviously keep up to date with it. Gasly to Alpine, says EJ Norris.
Well, he's tied into. I know contracts don't really mean too much now in Formula One, but he's tied in with Alpha Tauri for the next year or so. I reckon Ricciardo to Alpine.
Why? You're obviously a much better person to answer it than anybody else I know. Why would a team like Alpine be interested in a driver like Gasly? Because when you look at the stats, the season so far, Gasly is not separating himself from Yuki Tsunoda, who's only in his 2nd year of Formula One racing.
I think the thing that would appeal to Alpine is there'd be an all-French lineup for a French team, because you've got Ocon already, Gasly driving for a French team. That would be a big, big draw. And also that we know what Gasly is capable of. What he did last year in the Alpha Tauri. He's a race winner. After he got bumped from Red Bull and he went back down to Toro Rosso in those days before it became Alpha Tauri, he rebuilt himself as one of the sport's higher rated drivers. I think it would be good. I'd rather see Daniel Ricciardo go to Alpine or go back to that team. But Yuki and Gasly have been fairly similar this year, but that car hasn't been great. It slips behind, even though it was right up there last year. They've slipped behind the sort of the likes of Alpine and McLaren, and they're fighting with the likes of Alpha and Aston.
Fair enough.
He's doing what he can.
Yeah, I mean, he is outperforming. Yuki's 8-5 at the moment, outscored him by 5 points after 13 rounds. But it isn't, from the outside looking in as a rookie fan, enough to say, oh, you know what, I'm going to try and buy him out of a contract or whatever it might be. So I just thought I'd ask the question there. We'll go live back to the van. As you can see, he's still not there.
There's a brief cameo appearance.
He just wanted to have his intro played. That's basically what it was. Now he's gone back to the pub.
Yep, he's in the back of the van now. He's just lying there. He's asleep.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so to round up today's show, as you can see, still live from the van. Nothing going on there. The thing is, like, it's the most he spoke all show, all season.
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
fair,
I appreciate the input.
Absolutely,
was
so
song,
do
wasn't
I. Yeah, I think it was.
That
You should know.
British
You're,
input.
you're the musician. You should bloody know.
Yeah, kind of. It was a bad touch. Yeah.
I've got some quick fire questions. I want you to answer them whatever comes to your mind. No thinking, no hesitating. Well, obviously thinking, but no hesitating. You've got to answer it. Boom. So quick fire. Let's go. Will Red Bull retain?
Sorry, will Red Bull
Retain.
Yep.
A nice easy one to ease you in there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree, Neil? He agrees. Who needs a better second half of the season?
Team or driver?
Either.
Ferrari.
Okay. Other than Ferrari?
Williams.
Driver?
Perez.
Oh, why Perez?
He's gone off the boil in recent races. Start of the season, he was right up there. He was on Verstappen, but he's dropped off a little bit now. So
okay.
I think he needs to rediscover his form.
Okay. Do you agree, Neil? Neil agrees.
Yeah, he agrees.
Mid-table winner.
Mid-table winner. Are you talking outside the big three, yeah?
Outside the big three, yeah.
Okay.
And outside McLaren.
And outside McLaren. Alpine.
Alpine. Why Alpine?
They're doing very well. Ocon seems to have got up to speed. Fernando is still Fernando. And the car seems very capable of challenging McLaren.
Yeah. Well, it's currently ahead of McLaren by 4 points. So maybe I was wrong to include McLaren, and then maybe I should have included Alpine.
I think behind those guys, if we're not including those two, because those two are sort of like, they're not the front runners, but they're not the midfield. There's all this other battle.
Do you think Alfa Romeo can carry on their season? Because so far they've had a fairly decent year so far. They're well ahead of Haas in 7th.
Yeah, I think Alpha will probably win the midfield if we're not counting the likes of McLaren and Alpine. Bottas is doing so well in that car, and I think the show is only going to get better.
Okay. And last question: first driver dropped by their team at the end of the year.
Ooh. Latifi.
Yeah. I was going to bring the Williams conversation up actually, and ask who do you think is having the better season. But again, a bit like McLaren, Norris and Ricciardo, it would be an absolute pointless question because Latifi's had an awful year. Yeah,
looking at that now, he's had. Where's Albon? Albon is currently in the lofty heights of 19th. With a couple of points finishes. He got 10th in Australia and then 9th as well. He's been doing okay in a car that shouldn't be, where he's been putting it. But Latifi has just been
go Tiffy.
None of that. Come on. I remember Go TV. That was last weekend. That was trending on Twitter because he topped Friday final practice or Friday practice. Free practice 3 on Saturday morning. He topped it because it was drying. The track was really drying quickly, so he was first and bloody Albon was third. Everyone, Go TV was trending. But yeah, he's just been, and I think Hungary qualifying really summed up Latifi because he was purple in Q1, right? He was purple in sector 1, which was quickest of all. He was green in sector 2.
Yeah,
and you're thinking, bloody hell, this guy could get through into Q2 here and be ahead of Albon because he was looking solid. And then he crossed the line, 7 tenths off and started last. You think, where did that go? And apparently he made a mistake, and you saw it. He made a mistake on the very last corner, and that is just pure, homegrown Nicholas Latifi. You start off and you think, bloody hell, yeah, and then it just falls apart. And Williams, we've said this before, Williams don't need pay drivers now.
Well, no, it's it's under new ownership, obviously, isn't it? So, it's a new day, it's a new dawn, as they say.
He's feeling good.
And absolutely. Do you agree?
It's still a very, very painful season for Williams. He agrees.
Neil agrees, as you can see. He's very animated about it, actually. Neil, you want to calm down a little bit about it, buddy.
I don't know if we're going to do a show on this at some point, sort of, what's done, who's impressed you the most and who's let you down the most this season, sort of at the halfway point, or, must be improved the most. For me, it's Williams because they have been such a letdown this year.
So they've let you down?
Oh, for sure. Massively.
So Williams is your letdown?
Williams
I think I'll bring this because obviously we haven't got a race to preview next week. So I can start the show next week with who's let you down?
Mm-hmm.
Who's got to improve? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And what was the other one?
Maybe sort of who's exceeded expectations.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, go for the positive. I like it. So, who's let you down? Who's got to improve? And who's exceeded expectations?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, Neil will be with us for that one.
Hopefully, you'll see that comment from Ian as well. Bin Tifi, that's more like it.
Well, yeah.
That's about right.
Yeah.
He can get through it. Oh, never mind. It's Latifi. Never mind.
It is. Anyway, that's that done. We are back next Monday at 7:15. Isn't that right, Stephen Thompson?
Yep, 7:15. I won't get distracted downstairs building Lego this time, I promise.
But we will start the show next week with that, and then we'll look ahead to the race after that, which is Italy.
We are going to Belgium next.
Belgium.
I don't know how I had to look at the schedule for that because it's one of my all-time favourite races ever.
You should know. That's shocking. That's shocking. But we are back. The three of us. I say the three of us. Two of us in a van. Are back at 8:30 for Talking Towns Extra Time. Join us then. Steve, just lead us out. Remind people where they can find us, how to like us, etc., etc.
Yeah. Thank you very much for watching. Love seeing all the comments, people getting involved again. It's always great to see.
It really is.
You can catch us every Monday, 7:15 ish. Across various podcast platforms, of course. But yeah, you can find us on social media. Like, subscribe, share the love, show the love, and we'll see you Monday at 7:15.
Good night from him. Good night from me. And good night from him.
Good night from the van.